Hello! Yes, that's right, I'm back again, folks. Welcome back to another episode of Emergency Rant with Riley77.
This is Emergency Rant with Bezos Slice, your signal to vent, shout, and set it straight.
So in today's episode, last time we were here, I talked about what I was excited for 2026, but recently the Super Bowl just happened, and also we got NASCAR coming up. We got the duels coming up tonight. As I'm recording this, it already has happened. And then we got the Daytona 500, which is on Sunday, and oh man, I am so excited. But I'm going to talk about the Super Bowl first because, wow, that was certainly just one of the Super Bowls of all time. I really didn't think it was anything special. The main thing I was happy about was just watching the game with a friend of mine at her place. I thought that was a lot of fun. But besides that, really, the game itself was really unmemorable. One of the most boring Super Bowls you ever could see. However, it was really satisfying, I would say, to watch the Patriots just crumble like that after how soft their schedule was this year. I mean, seriously, you can look at their schedule. Almost every single team fired their head coach, was part of the NFC South, or was a team that was already bad to begin with, that we didn't expect anything from them. The Patriots' schedule was so bad, and yet they still managed to lose 3 games this year. And I think they started 0-2, which is crazy. And then everyone thought, oh, it's going to be another typical Patriots year. And then they end up going on a huge run. And then they only lose to the Bills and late in the season before around like Thanksgiving, I think. But yeah, no, this Super Bowl was really satisfying. Just watch the Patriots just crumble like that. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but Sam Darnold actually won a Super Bowl, and he did it before GTA 6. Like, everyone was saying that, and I thought that was really funny. And I agree, though. I mean, I don't know how on earth Sam Darnold went from a guy who we all thought was just going to be a bust, he was a meme on the Jets, to all of a sudden now, he has won a Super Bowl before Jared Goff, he has won a Super Bowl before Josh Allen, which hurts to say, he's won a Super Bowl before Lamar Jackson. Like, there is, like, out of all the guys from that draft class, he was the first one to actually make, let alone win, the Super Bowl. And it's just been really, really interesting to see how that escalated like that. I mean, Sam Darnold went from a guy who I forgot was even in the NFL, and I didn't even think was going to be that good after seeing him play for the Jets. But it goes to show that if you go to the Jets, that's when your career tanks. And then he ended up going to the Panthers, proved himself there, went to the Vikings for 1 year, and then the Vikings decided to get rid of him in favor of J.J. McCarthy. And as a Michigan fan, I'm happy to see him play. Unfortunately, though, I can easily tell J.J. McCarthy was not ready. And J.J. McCarthy, yikes. It just hurts to watch as a Michigan fan because, yes, if you guys don't know, I am a huge Michigan Wolverines fan. I was born into a family who watches Michigan. My dad never misses a game ever, and just to see JJ McCarthy, who's like my all-time favorite player, just crumble like that, it just hurts to watch. Even though it's weird too because I'm a Packers fan I'm a Bills fan for NFL. I know people hate it for people who root for 2 teams, but the thing is I have so many friends who root for the Bills, and then I was born into being a Packers fan at the same time. So it's like, I don't really know who to root for. So I'm just pick both. I also just don't care for the NFL as much as I do college football. College football, I will never miss a Michigan game no matter what nowadays. I don't remember the last time I missed like a Michigan game, or like I've not gone out of my way to watch a game. I watch every Michigan game no matter what the score is and such. 2024 hurt to watch. 2025 was even worse, so I hated that season even more just because just so angry we lost to Ohio State. It hurts. It sucks. But hopefully Kyle Whittingham can get us back. But anyways, we're falling out of topic here from football, from the Super Bowl. But the game itself I thought was nothing special. I mean, the first half was really boring. It was 12-0. No touchdowns were scored. Thankfully, it got a little bit better as it went on, but the problem with the Super Bowl was that it just didn't really have anything going on for it. It was just another one of those rematch Super Bowls from like over 10 years ago, which is crazy thinking about that. Halftime show I guess is okay, and I didn't care for it though. But it's just I don't care about Bad Bunny's music. I don't, and everyone's probably gonna say I'm racist now for saying that, but I don't care. I don't like the music. I'm not a fan of most of the pop music. I think almost every halftime show, except for like 2 or 3 of them, like the Snoop Dogg one was good. Rihanna's was pretty good too. I will say that. Usher's was okay. I wouldn't say that one was terrible, but the problem is most of the stuff is just pop music that I don't want to listen to, or it's like, this just sounds bad. Like, I think still the worst halftime show ever was Super Bowl 53 with Maroon 5. That halftime show was just an absolute disaster. That was, like, you could just see how unamused and, like, unsatisfied, or, like, just unenergetic Maroon 5 was when they were there. You could clearly tell they did not want to be there. Yeah, and then I know there was also, like, the other halftime show that went on, like, the Turning Point one. I didn't watch that one. I watched the Bad Bunny one just because we didn't feel like changing the channel and such, so, but, yeah, no, I saw both of them, and I didn't think either of them were really that good, to be honest. I thought they were both pretty bad, I'm gonna be honest. I thought the only one part that I actually didn't think was bad was Brantley Gilbert. He did pretty good during, that Super Bowl halftime show, but I thought both were bad. I was just confused throughout it, and I'm just, like, on my phone for the most part, just tuned out of it, barely even paying attention to it, but, yeah, for the Super Bowl wise, I thought that the game itself was kind of a bust. It was more dissatisfying to just see the Patriots crumble. However, I just hate the fact that Kenneth Walker balled out again, because I hate Kenneth Walker, because he beat Michigan, and we freaking choked in 2021. Yeah, I'm just turning this into a Michigan rant at this point, despite the fact that it was supposed to be about the Super Bowl, but I get off topic a lot when I talk about football and I reference players and such, but Sam Darnold winning the Super Bowl is pretty cool, I will say that, and I think overall, the Super Bowl, I would give it like a 3.5 out of 10. It was just a boring game. It did get a little bit good when the Patriots scored their first touchdown after when they made it 19-7. Then I think the Patriots turned them over. I forget what happened there, but then Drake May threw another interception, and then ended up and then the Seahawks just ran away with it toward the end. I thought maybe because I thought the Patriots are actually going to get a chance to get back into it if Drake May didn't throw that second interception, and then when it was 19-7. I think if it was 19-14, there was a chance the Patriots could have came back and won, but I was more hoping to see a good game. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. I would say, well, I do think seeing last year's Super Bowl is a little bit more satisfying, though, just to see, because I legit did not want the Chiefs to win last year. Like, I absolutely was so sick and tired of the Chiefs. Like, I hate the Patriots, but honestly, I respect Drake May, so that's why. That's why I wasn't as wanting, like, the Patriots to, like, lose as much as, like, the Chiefs the last few years. Plus, the Chiefs was on, like, made it on a 3-year run, and plus I was still salty that the Chiefs beat the Bills in, like, the most, that was the most rigged game ever. That AFC Championship game is so rigged. I don't care what people say. Though the Bills got cheated out of that game against the Broncos. I'm still, oh my god. We were like, throughout the Super Bowl, most of the time, me and my friend, we were just ranting about how that was still like the fact that the Broncos even made it there to the AFC Championship game when it really should have been the Bills. I mean, I don't know how that was not a catch. I still don't get it. He was down on the ground and had possession still, and then all of a sudden it's like the NFL hates the Bills. I really feel like that, because I mean, that's 2 times I feel like in a row the Bills ended up getting cheated out of a win, because 2024, that was the most rigged game ever. Like, the 2024 season AFC Championship game in 2025, that was the most rigged game I've ever seen in my entire life. I don't know what... I mean, the referees legit got fired, I think. Or, like, they couldn't... Like, they had to actually, like, change stuff up for that, because you could easily tell that the NFL saw this and they're like, yeah, no, we gotta change something at this point. This is getting out of hand. And then when you see that the next year, the Chiefs don't even make the playoffs, so it's like... But at the same time, I guess, don't turn over the ball several times, too. That doesn't help either, but... yeah, that's my thoughts on the Super Bowl and just about the NFL season a little bit. It was an alright season, I guess. Just a little disappointed with how both my teams crumbled at the end. But yeah, we're gonna take a quick break, and then we'll come back to talk about NASCAR now because, well, as you can tell by my shirt and my hat, I'm a NASCAR guy, and give my thoughts on like the upcoming point standings and what I'm excited for the Daytona 500 coming up. So we'll be back right after this. What is up, virgins and virgins?
Who's Brad Pitt?
What?
Alright, so welcome back to the Emergency Rant episode. So, we are now going to talk about NASCAR today because we got NASCAR coming up. And oh man, I am ready for the Daytona 500 this Sunday. Yeah, I mean, Chase Elliott did pretty good qualifying wise. He's in the top 10. I believe he qualified 9th, which is funny because he drives the 9th car. And I think overall it's going to be a pretty exciting season. We got the new chase format. Well, the chase format actually is kind of returning. The only difference is the point is now it's 16 drivers that get in instead of well, for back then it was 10, then it was 12, and then for 1 year it was 13 because of the spin gate allegation with Clint Boyer. So to give the last lap, they decided to just throw in Jeff Gordon too, just because it's because that way they can give Michael Waltrip Racing the last laugh and the middle finger. So that's why they just put Ryan Newman and Jeff Gordon in. So that way they did that. That Napa left the team. Martin Truex, they had to downsize their team, and that whole thing ended up killing Michael Waltrip Racing. And yeah, it goes to show that cheaters never win. But besides that, yeah, I mean, I think the Daytona 500 is going to be another exciting race. Usually this race never disappoints. I don't really like the fact that nowadays it's turned more into a fuel-saving race, but there's always going to be a big wreck usually in this race. You always expect it because everyone wants to win this race. So at some point, the rubber band always snaps, and at some point, you'll always see a big wreck happen. I mean, last year we saw a flip with Ryan Preece, and amazingly, he did not go into the catch fence in that flip. And we'll see if maybe William Byron can go 3 straight Daytona 500s. I don't think that's ever happened before, or if it was a very, very, very long time ago. And yeah, I mean, I went to Daytona last January. I took a tour of the track. I didn't actually, because I visited my grandparents down in Florida, because they stay down there during the wintertime. And yeah, I mean, just to see the track, like, it is amazing how much different, like, the facility feels and how much more, like, upgraded and, like, modern the track looks compared to, like, Pocono, Watkins Glen, which, their facilities are decent, but when you compare it to Daytona, it's, like, night and day. Like, wow, this is amazing, because they have a lot more prestigious events there. There's a reason why the Daytona 500 is the Great American Race, and the reason why it's always the first race of the season is because, to get people excited, but also because they want to. It's also because it's one of the crown jewel events. I know people will say I know that people want to say make it the last race, but I guess sometimes you want to start things big right off the bat just to get people excited and see if they want to tune in for the entire season. And yeah, no, I think the chase format's definitely going to help things out. I think one thing the only thing I'm worried about though is. I'm worried it's gonna be like, it's gonna be like the Jimmy Johnson era again, where Jimmy Johnson dominated the series again. And while Jimmy Johnson's my all-time favorite driver, the problem is that if you just give us a similar format like this, and it's still gonna be too gimmicky. I feel like. I think at this rate they can easily go back to just a Winston points format because of how competitive the series is now. The series is just so competitive. You don't know why? Because the cars are a lot more equal now. Like, it has always come down to the final race now, throughout the last several years, ever since the next-gen cars come into play, because of how much more competitive the series has gotten, because of how many different winners we can get, and just because of how the NASCAR managed to level the playing field a lot more. I don't see why we have to have a gimmicky playoff format when we can have some great points battles that go out through the entire season. I mean, look at F1. Despite the fact that, like, you always get a deserved champion because they got the most points and they were the most consistent throughout the season. I know people hated the fact Lando Norris won the championship, but he was the most consistent throughout the season. There's nothing you can do to change that. He deserved that championship. Then you look at Joey Logano's 2024 season. He got eliminated. He was done. And then, of course, no. He ends up coming back, and then he ends up winning the championship somehow. The most Mickey Mouse championship you ever could ask for. Even more than Chase Elliott's in 2020. But Chase Elliott wasn't even that bad in 2020. He deserved to be in that area. It's just Kevin Harvick was just way more dominant to the point where that championship was destined to be his. And in the end, it wasn't. So then a few years later, he retired. And now he's commentating in Fox. And just how it is. But yeah, no, I think Daytona, though, is going to be another fantastic race. And I think the season's going to be a lot better. I mean, the playoff format is gone. I'm happy that it's gone. I'm glad we're trying to resort things back. Though, at this rate, though, I think we should just do a full season format. I know people are probably going to say it's boring, but you don't need gimmicks anymore. Because we don't need all this other added in stuff at this point. Because it's so level to the point where you don't even need the gimmicks. Because you're still going to get a good points battle to the end of the season. It's not going to be... It's because a driver can't easily dominate in these cars anymore. Like, Denny Hamlin wouldn't even have made the playoffs, or wouldn't even make the Final Four, or, like, wouldn't even have a chance for the championship. What I'm trying to say is, for that, because if there wasn't a playoff format. But because there was the playoff format, he managed to take advantage of it, and he got to Phoenix. And realistically, and while, yes, he probably should have won that championship, and everyone was salty that he didn't, at the same time, if it wasn't for the playoffs, he wouldn't even been in that position to begin with. So, in my opinion, really, I think that it really should have been either Christopher Bell or Chase Elliott or Chase Briscoe, I think, that should win the championship in 2025. It really should have been Christopher Bell, I think Christopher Bell would have won it instead, but it also could have been Chase Elliott. That's why I think Chase Elliott's such a sleeper pick this year for the Chase format. Because now the game is more about consistency, and Chase Elliott is easily the most consistent driver throughout the next-gen era. He has the best average finish in over half of the seasons in the next-gen era. 2022, 2024, and 2025. Or no, yeah. Yeah, my bad. Or no, wait, rather. Okay, hold on. But yeah, no, I think 2020, for the last several years, 2021, 2022, and 2024, he managed to get the best average finish for those. For the last 5 seasons, which 2 of those were in the next-gen era. And the other 2, he managed to be one of the most consistent drivers still, despite the fact he had a broken leg, and then he also had and Christopher Bell just managed to outperform him just by a little bit. But he still had one of the best average finishes in the field throughout every single season. And everyone tries to act like he's overrated and that he's washed, when in reality, he is the most consistent driver. He just doesn't go for wins as much. He just makes sure that the car stays in one piece. And yes, he got 2 wins on last lap passes last year, but I think overall Chase Elliott can be a really, really good driver this year, and I think he's a very big sleeper pick this year. Do I think he'll win as much as Kyle Larson or William Byron? No. But I do think he will be able to get further in the points because of how good he is at being consistent. So, that's my upcoming look at the NASCAR season, and yeah, no, definitely tune in to Daytona. I definitely suggest it, even if you guys don't really care for NASCAR, this race never disappoints. And I think overall you guys should check out NASCAR. I think if you guys can really start getting into the sport and just start watching the races and appreciate how the racing works and how different it is compared to F1, I think overall this could be a very, very good season, and I think overall NASCAR is coming back. I think NASCAR's going back to older tracks now. We're getting some new tracks in the schedule. NASCAR's trying to reinvent itself and trying to win people back and trying to get new fans in. So, yeah, that's about it for this episode of Emergency Rant. This is Riley77 saying goodbye. I'm signing off for now. See ya.